Lesson 7.4 is about nth roots. We're going to simplify radicals, and then in class tomorrow we'll use a calculator to approximate radicals. So in nth root, now we're going to get a little bit higher up other than just square roots or cube roots. We're going to be taking things like the 5th root or the 6th root and maybe even higher than that. So the nth root is the inverse of raising a number to the nth power. So if I raise something to the 5th power, the inverse is taking the 5th root. Or if I raise something to the 8th power, the inverse is taking the 8th root. So here's kind of an example here where I've got an nth root of 50. That little number in front of your square root sign is called the index. If you don't see an index, it means we've got the square root. If the index is 3, that's the cube root. If the index is 4, that's the 4th root, and so on. You can definitely use your calculator for these. You need to go under math on your TI-83 calculators. You need to go under math, and then you can find the nth roots. Whatever's underneath our radical sign is called the radicand. So here's a few examples. In part A, we're going to simplify plus or minus the square root of 25x to the 4th. Now we've seen this square root sign before, so we're kind of used to this one. Our answer is going to keep the plus or minus sign. The square root of 25 is 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. And the square root of x to the 4th is x squared, because x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. So our answer is plus or minus 5x squared. In part B, we're taking the negative square root of, in parentheses, y squared plus 4 to the 8th power. Well, we're really just undoing this power of 8 here. So how do you deal with that? Well, kind of the simple, easy rule is to use the index here, and you divide. 8 divided by 2 gives you the 4th power, so my answer is negative y squared plus 4 to the 4th power. If you're taking the square root of something to the 8th power, you just divide it by 2. And we get to the 4th power. Here's a couple more. So in C, here we're seeing the 5th root. The index is 5 out in front, and we're taking the 5th root of 32, x to the 15th, y to the 20th. So our answer is going to be something raised to the 5th power that would give us 32. Well, 2 to the 5th power is 32, so the 5th root of 32 is 2. What's the 5th root of x to the 15th? Well, we're going to use that same rule of division here. If you take the 5th root of x to the 15th, you get x to the 3rd. Why? Because x to the 3rd to the 5th gives you x to the 15th. And using the same rule here where you divide by the index, we're going to get y to the 4th power. Again, why? It's because y to the 4th to the 5th gives you y to the 20th. So our answer here for the 5th root is 2x to the 3rd, y to the 4th. Pretty simple. Okay, and in letter D, we're taking the square root of negative 9. Now, this is not a real number, but we do know that anytime you take the square root of a negative, you get an imaginary number. Since the square root of 9 is 3, the square root of negative 9 is 3i. Okay, I've got 2 more here for you to try on your own. Plus or minus the square root of 81y to the 6th. And then in letter F, you're taking the 6th root of 729, x to the 30th, y to the 18th.